This one is not quite as developed yet, this idea, but I want to get your thoughts on it because it sounds like they're leaning towards and or about to confirm the idea that in 2027, when they change the schedule, they are also going to get rid of conferences and make one 30-team table with five divisions of six teams each. The way this would work is that in each division, you'd play the teams in your division twice, one home, one away, and then you would play every other team once, either home or away. And then the next year, if you were home, they'd come to you. Or if you were home, you'd go to them. And if you were away, they'd come to you. Theoretically, it sounds like the division winners, very similar to football, would make the playoffs, plus a set number of teams after that. What are your thoughts on this? Because I'm interested.
I mean, it Americanizes it a lot, that's for sure. But I think it gives a little bit more power back to the supporter shield because now you're playing every team. It's not the scenario where you're going to be like, all right, well, you're not playing every team. So it's like certain teams may potentially have an easier schedule because they're playing some of the worst teams and not playing some of the better teams. This gives a little bit more power back to the supporter shield. And I think I don't see a scenario where it takes away from the playoffs. I think you
Mhm.
still get the same special moments, the same meaning of the playoffs with this format versus the one that they currently have. So if it's an opportunity for them to like put a little bit more importance behind the supporter shield while not taking away from MLS Cup, I don't see why it would be a bad thing per se. I'm not against it. I mean, I think there's potential there, but obviously the way that they shape the divisions and stuff, it could in the short term definitely feel like, oh, this is bad for us because you could have teams that get put into bad divisions. Or sorry, when I say bad divisions, I mean like you could be in a division that's just absolutely loaded, right? And then you get punished for it potentially, the way depending on however they set up whoever makes the playoffs behind the people that win the division. But um, I mean, I don't necessarily see the negatives behind enough negatives behind it to be like this is a bad thing. That being said, I would like to see it a little bit more flushed out before I like say anything super concrete on whether or not I'd be on board with it.
Yeah. I think first and foremost, you're going to see they've talked about changing structure in the regular season and the playoffs. So that tells me that if they go to a single table, they're going to change their playoff model. And the way that I see it is that if they were to do it right now, the top nine of each conference make it, right? So 18 total. It would be the top three from each division of six, plus the three best fourth placed finishers. That just seems a bit ridiculous to me.
Hmm.
The other way that they were talking about it is just a cutoff top X amount, right? So 18, 16, 12, whatever, make the playoffs. Doesn't matter what division or whatever. However, and then the other way they talked about it, there are lots of different things I've seen, is all the divisions get in, top division winners, and then it is back to the table. So if you're doing a division, you get your five division winners and you want to get to 16, well, then the next 11 highest on the table make it in. It's all interesting, right? But to
Yeah.
me, I'm really wondering if this leads to a smaller playoff structure, right? If they want to do just divisions, take the top two from each division and maybe the next two to best 16s from the table, right? So anywhere between 12 to 16 teams, and it's all division based. Or see now my head's starting to go. I'm getting a little crazy. But
You're thinking this. Whatever solutions you're thinking of are probably not going to happen. So,
correct. They're getting a
because
little
they're
bit
going to
crazy.
come up with some ridiculous way for people to get into the playoffs.
Yes. Basically it's the top 16 unless Miami misses it, and then it's Miami in the
Yeah,
top 15. So
yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
but what I would really hope this brings, and this would lend to less of a division or the divisions have less of an impact outside of the winners, but you take the top 16, let's say it's 16, half the league, 16 out of 30, give or take. And it's just 1 versus 16 all the way down. 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15. Doesn't matter where you're located, what your division is, what your conference used to be, West, East, doesn't matter. I think that would make the playoffs super, super fun, right? I'm as much as I love watching FCC Columbus for the sixth time this year, or, you know, Red Bull Philly for the 15th time this year if we made the playoffs theoretically. I think this would be really fun to be like, hey, your first round, you're traveling cross coast to get to LAFC. Good luck. And then you look back like, oh, we've played them before. We had to go there already, and this is how we beat them. Like it just adds that extra layer of complexity that gives the playoffs that much more meaning. You mentioned something I just want to go back about the supporter shield having meaning. I think it does, but I still don't think it would have enough meaning to be the number one trophy because it's not even. It's
Yeah,
not balanced. But
agreed. Agreed.
I think that would make this would make the playoffs really fun if we go ahead and say, yeah, top 16, five division winners plus the next 11 all make it in. And then the number, you take those 16 teams and put them up into so if you won the division but you finished 18th for whatever reason, okay, now you're number 16 on the seating and you have to go play number one, right? Um, I think this could be so fun if they go this way. There's just a world of opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I am definitely all on board for shrinking the amount of teams that get into the playoffs. It just
Yes.
it gives more meaning to the cup. It makes it more meaningful for you to qualify. It's not the situation where it's like majority of the people in your conference make the playoffs. I just that's definitely the thing that I dislike the most about the current structure of the playoffs. As much as it's nice to give teams opportunities late in the season to like still have a chance to for something to fight for, I still think I would prefer a few teams have nothing to play for at the end of the season and have a more exclusive playoffs than to have the current structure where more teams have something to play for at the end of the year, but majority of people get in, so it doesn't necessarily feel as special.
Yeah, and frankly, it gives meaning to if you're a good division or a good conference, right? If we go back to the way conferences are now, you're not getting knocked out because the other conference was terrible, right? And I have to do this because we haven't talked enough about them. Red Bull finished 18th this year in the Supporter Shield. Now, this whole idea of making 16 teams, scrap it. Let's go to 18 because I'm just kidding. But really, like if you look at it, the bottom from 19 down to 30 is majority Western Conference. But Red Bull are on the outside because the Eastern Conference was so strong. So, and again, I'm not obviously advocating for that, but you're looking at teams that are like, okay, well, if we do 16 and of the 16, 10 of the 16 are from the East, well, or from what used to be the old East. Okay, that's the way we do it, right? But don't hurt teams just because the rest of their conference or their old conference is good. I think that allows for, again, in a league where a lot of people complain about the meritocracy and the fake parity and whatever. This is a really good way to say, okay, we're just going to pick the best of the best and we're going to play. Forget conferences, we're going to go. And I think it's a really good way to do that.
Yeah, agreed.